Tales of the Jedi is the new Star Wars show now on Disney+, the new animated series of 6 original shorts, 3 focusing on Ahsoka and 3 on Count Dooku. Today is my review of this series, and I'll let you know what I thought about the show, my initial reactions to it, and after, processing for a little bit, how I feel about the show overall. So let's jump into it. Now, before we say anything else, I just want to first of all point out that I loved this show. It focuses on, of course, as I said before, Ahsoka and Count Dooku. Now, personally, my favorite of the two plots was definitely the Dooku plot. I don't know, it just resonated with me the most, and it was the one that I was expecting to like the most, to be honest, but I definitely enjoyed it the most. I loved seeing how, even though each episode jumps in a time jump, and you can see that in his age, and in the age of Qui-Gon, and in, the time period that we're focused on here, I do find it very interesting that these 3 episodes, even though they're so far apart in, timeline-wise, they really do feel like they come together well to create a nice, coherent arc that really shows his sort of doubtfulness for the Jedi Council and his disagreements with it, which finally bring him, of course, to becoming a Sith Lord and joining Palpatine as he gets roped into the dark side. And, of course, once you start down the dark path, forever will it dominate your destiny. So that's exactly what those 3 episodes showed, and I loved seeing how, it gets more and more serious. It starts off with the subplot with the villagers and with Qui-Gon, and while he takes it a bit too far and tries to force choke the senator, it really, nothing bad comes out of it. It really ends up being a positive result at the end of their mission. But it does give you a little bit of a hint of, hey, Dooku is, he's not messing around. Then you get to the second episode with Mace Windu and Qui-Gon, which I absolutely loved. Great episode. And this, he goes farther than the first time. He causes the death of a senator and of multiple guards. And I love that scene where the guard who they are questioning, who's after they've in that big forest, when they're questioning the guard, Mace Windu asks why he didn't consult the Jedi to help them with the corruptness of his senator, and he says the Jedi are the lapdogs of the Senate, and he explains how the Jedi really shouldn't be aren't taken seriously because they don't get anything done, and they really are just politicians who serve the rich and don't care at all about the poor. And so basically you're seeing Dooku kind of in his mind start to realize, oh wait, the Jedi are not what the Jedi say they are. And so that was really interesting to see that little moment, to see him kind of process that. And then of course we go to the final episode of the Dooku one, the Sith Lord. Amazing episode, brilliant. I love the fight with Yaddle, I love the stuff with Palpatine, and I love the sort of darkness, the dark tone that it sets. I love the scene where he just stands by the tree in that, in the temple, courtyard. And I think just the scene of just him staring at it and just realizing that something needs to be done is such an interesting thing to focus on. And I'm really glad that we got to see that, because it really is overall just an excellent episode and just an excellent story. And I loved every minute of it, from the beginning with him deleting the archives to the very end when he kills Yaddle. And then, of course, there's the Ahsoka episodes, and I just want to point out, because first of all, we start off with the first episode, which is I thought it was a great way to sort of start the series and set up the show and kind of set the tone for it. It's the episode in which baby Ahsoka goes on her mission with her mother to learn the ways of the world of life and death, is the name of the episode. And what I love about it is the episode is so simple and yet so effective, and I think that's what makes the story so good. In 15 minutes, it can tell a brilliant story, a great story, that kind of shows you, hey, look, it's a way of, showing Ahsoka kind of the people realizing that Ahsoka is a Jedi, and that she has these Force powers, and that she has beast control, so she can control that big tiger that attacks her. And I love the episode. I just love how the story is so simple, and yet it brings so much to the table, and it's such a great, cool way to start the show, for sure. And for all the episodes, not just this episode, though this episode definitely, but of all the episodes really in the show, I gotta say that the animation in this show is absolutely beautiful. it takes that kind of beautiful look from the Clone Wars, but actually plays around with it a little bit. I love the like hazy forest kind of look that you get with the first episode. And I just think that the animation is absolutely beautiful, especially in the first episode, but in all the episodes, the animation looks great. So that's sort of my thoughts on the show. I don't have very many complaints because it's a really good show. All the episodes are great. I will say that I feel like at the end of episode, I believe it was 5, the one where Ahsoka trains with Anakin, which was a great episode. It didn't quite feel like it had a full arc or anything. It kind of just felt like it was, just a little side story, but I think that's fine. There's no issue with that. And I love the little nod that basically shows you that Anakin, by pushing her so hard to be able to fight clones, is what allowed her to survive Order 66. Not only does it make a lot more sense for Ahsoka surviving that event, but it's a nice, it's a nice thing that they've put in there to kind of show you, hey, Anakin basically saved Ahsoka from Order 66 and showed her how to protect herself. And I loved that is kind of... I love that those little things, narratively, that kind of play into the story. The only complaint I have is that at the very end of that episode, when they show us kind of jumping into the little end of season 7 of the Clone Wars to kind of give us that little nod, it's a cool little nod, and I definitely like it. But the end of the episode felt a bit abrupt to me. I wasn't quite really expecting... Like, most of the episodes, you can kind of feel... the ending is coming, which is something you get a lot with Star Wars. It's very normal to kind of sense the end of something, of an episode or a movie or whatever, kind of approaching. But with this episode, I didn't really get it, and I was kind of like, oh, okay, it's over. That being said, it's still a good episode. It's still a great episode. And the final one with the Inquisitor was really cool, where she fights him. That was super cool. I feel like that episode was less memorable than some of the other ones. I feel like the Ahsoka ones weren't as memorable for sure as the Dooku ones, but they're still great episodes. And I love that they brought, Bail Organa into there and stuff. I just love that they keep bringing him back as a character. I really loved this show. I'm a huge fan of it, and I want to see more, and I want to see more stories, and I think this is kind of a nice way to test the waters, but I think this is definitely something that we need to see more of, and I really hope we do. So that's my kind of thoughts on Tales of the Jedi. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Comment down below what you thought of the show. I'd love to hear all of your opinions and all of your thoughts. And as always, may the Force be with you. I'll see you later.